What's up, Rockstars? Today I'm coming with another bit of news for you. I got some more information on what Blood Rage 2 actually is. I got some more information on some Kickstarters that are available, that are coming up. We got some news about stuff that's been long in the coming. There's a lot to talk about, so let's go ahead and get started. As always, I'd like to start out with a huge and heartfelt thank you to my patrons and YouTube members. It is through their support that I'm able to do almost everything you see on this channel, whether it's the quality of video or the content or the amount that I do. I can stay completely independent, not taking any money from any of these game developers. All the lighting, the sound, the camera, all thanks to them. There's going to be an actual video upgrade here coming up soon, and again, that is a huge part to all of you guys that are donating over there. Seriously, it helps a ton, and you will see the benefits on the channel, so thank you so much for that. But I know that's not for everybody, and that's okay. I'm just happy to have you guys here. As always, additionally, if you are liking and subscribing, sharing, following the merch link, there's a link to a shirt store down there that's selling some sweet Final Fantasy VII shirts. You can get some of that down there. There's a ton there, but even just a kind comment saying thank you and that my video helped means the world to me. Trust me, it is what I look forward to every single day. I love chatting with you guys, so I'll be down there chatting, of course, with you all as soon as this video is posted. But enough about us. Let's get to this. All right, now I'd actually like to start out with kind of an indie shout out here. This is Defection by Thundervaults Limited. They did one other Kickstarter. It had like 66 backers, and it was just like the comic series kind of about this world that they've kind of built in. This is definitely, it says a 2 to 4 player pick up and deliver game set up in the deep sci-fi universe. The pick up and deliver, and I don't know if, okay, so I've not played one of these games, but I always look at it. I love, like, Sins of a Solar Empire and, you know, all these kind of, they're typically called, 4X games, right? I know this isn't quite that, right? It's that you're just kind of moving cargo. You're moving essentially different colored cubes from one point to another, which sounds boring, but this actually, like, it looks cool. One of the things I like about it is it doesn't look too messy. So a lot of these games, they just have so much going on, and I dig it, but it gives me anxiety to look at. There's just like too much. But this one actually seems pretty cool. So I decided, you know what, I should probably put on there. First of all, I like seeing actual prototype pictures. Like, thank you for that. Look, that's actually kind of representative of kind of what you get, except probably what you get is better. Typically prototypes are not as good. So that's kind of cool. I like the design of the ships and all that. One of the things I thought that stood out was actually, if I want to scroll down here, they have like a news section that I thought was kind of a cool way to just vary up the world, but also make it to where it's like thematic and put in there. And I don't know, I really dig that idea. So let's see, it's kind of down here. Like this is, you can put, like your, population and then your cargo on there, stuff like that. And then of course you're going hex to hex, and each one kind of tells you to do different things and does different information. Which is cool. I dig that. This right here, the news here, I just think that's really cool. I like this. Like, that's a nice idea, I think. That's actually kind of what stood out to me. Another thing I thought was kind of funny, and so they have like 20 days, still to go. I'm gonna scroll, these Kickstarter pages. 20 days to go, 182 backers, 14,000, they need 34,000. So if you are interested, there will be a link below. Obviously, you can come help them out, maybe get a cool game out of it. And the price didn't seem overly bad to me at all. $67 for the game plus stretch goals. That seems awesome, especially if you get some cool stretch goals. I always find it interesting when they pay for these previews and then still don't fund. And I guess what it shows me is that, the whole paid for coverage doesn't work. It doesn't do you any good. It doesn't. Like, I would be very curious about how many people watched the Mark Streed preview and they're like, you know what, I need this game. I wouldn't have known about it otherwise. And maybe there are some, right? I just don't know if it's quite worth the price, right? I mean, if you don't fund, obviously, then it definitely wasn't. But if you just barely did, but then you put that money, what if that money could have gone to something else? Anyway, I always find it interesting because every time I've done a preview, I actually use a bit.ly link that I custom make just because I'm like a data guy. I like looking at numbers and figuring things out and all that stuff. And so I like seeing kind of, if you guys are interested or not, right? And I'm always impressed with how many clicks those things get. Hundreds and thousands of clicks. And I guess, I don't know. I don't know exactly what I'm saying, except I always find it interesting, and I always note this when there's, an indie dev that's just trying to get the word out, and so they pay, to the different places to get the word out, and then it's like, well, it does kind of jack all, right? It's like, you need a connection, right? With your community, I think. Otherwise, you're just an ad, and I don't know how many people are clicking ads on YouTube. How many people are trying to skip ads on YouTube? So if the whole video is an ad, I don't know. Anyway, just something I thought of. So again, link down below. Let's if you are interested, let's show them what actual care and unpaid for coverage does. Because this is free. I'm not going to charge them anything for it. You're welcome. You are welcome. Well, who are you? Thunder Vaults Limited. There you go. All right, next up is 7 Citadel. Now, this is coming out, as you can see, Tuesday, September 22nd at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That you can follow a link down below to this, and you can click the notify me on launch, and it'll email you the day it launches, the moment it launches, so you can do a mad dash over to it and back it real quick and then type the comments thing, let's go, guys, let's go, can't wait, and all that kind of stuff, and just kind of ride that hype train, and that's fine. You can join the 5,584 people that are also on it. Obviously, they're going to do great. I'm sure they're going to back within like 2 seconds. And that just goes to show that if you make a good product, and you deliver a good product, and then people are like, wow, this is a great product. I wish they made more of this great product. And you're like, well, here's more of this great product. People want more great product. I don't know how this is difficult for so many people that like stress out about the Kickstarter. As long as you make some good crap and give it to us, we'll give you money. Like, and nobody's on Kickstarter because they don't want to spend money. Like, we're here because, I don't know why I'm ranting so much. This is, especially on 7 Citadel. But I guess just make good crap that looks good and tell us how good it is. Like, do a good job showing us how awesome it is, and then we'll give you money. I want to buy more of these. I want to spend money. Make a good game, and then you'll get it. All right, moving on. Okay, this is Time of Legends, Joan of Arc 1.5. And this is actually kind of interesting. So, I mean, that's cool, right? But let's face it, that mini's like that big. It makes me sad. Anyway, I can't paint a big miniature that good. This is cool. So they did an update right here where they shared what they're doing. And I thought this was kind of nice to see. So they have it marked as playtest, French corrections, English corrections, layout, and proofreading. And then they kind of described above kind of what each one is. I'm not going to get into it all. It's just kind of nice to see, I guess, where they are, where they think they are. It looks like for the Reliquary, there's one last one where they're doing some layout work, and then it says a whole bunch of proofreading. The Apocalypse is completely done. I thought was kind of cool that they kind of finished that whole thing. And that's, I love that the scenario names like all in French there. But anyway, I think that's super awesome. Most of the old 1.0 stuff just needs some proofreading. And then, of course, you get down to the Teutonic stuff. And there's obviously a wide range of it. Like this one, of Fire and Thunder only needs proofreading, but they haven't started it yet. Whereas some others are in various states kind of throughout. I just think that's cool. I like that I love when a company shows that they're organized. Like you have no idea how beneficial seeing something like this is. And not because I see a whole bunch of green or not. Like, I actually don't care about that. I just want to know that you're tracking your crap. Like, just that you have some kind of sense of order and professionalism, I think is kind of what this does. And they made it all pretty and nice and fancy. You didn't even have to do that, but I appreciated it anyway. That's cool. I think that's awesome. I think if I ever made a game and put it on Kickstarter, I would have like a live Trello board where you guys would see everything. In fact, I'm actually going to be making a Trello board for my patrons, and I'm deciding how best to make it useful to all of you. What I'm thinking is that we are going to make kind of like a Kickstarter Trello, right? Where you can see what's coming up and what we're tracking and all that. And then my idea is you could even assign yourself to one of the Trello cards, or it doesn't even necessarily have to be Trello. I just know it and it's easy. So you can follow it. So then you can just filter on all my stuff, and all my stuff is everything I've backed, that's being delivered, and everything I'm interested in and tracking. So I can just filter down to me. But you could filter down to me then too and see everything I'm doing, or you can filter down to your buddy and say, I don't know. It sounds cool in my head. I don't know if it'll work or not. I don't even know how many people can be a member of a card on Trello. I'll have to do some research. but just let you know I'm working on like making that idea a reality. I think that'd be super cool and useful, and I think us as a community can do a great job to do something a bit better than just a list, right? I think there's a lot of people that are making lists of Kickstarters, and that's great. That's a good starting point, especially when I first populate it. But I think that being able to track different things, and people can post links into like the updates and stuff like that. So even if you're not following it, like you didn't back it or you're a late pledger or something like that, you can still get those updates. And I think there's a lot of potential there. So I'm going to be looking into that. So I'll let you guys know when that's the thing. This is cool though. I like seeing this. Moving right along, we have Neomorphosis Infestation. This was the canceled version here. I just want to talk about crafting real quick. They talked about crafting. It's a bit different. Essentially, you get to a spot with one of these symbols on it, and that's kind of like the Forge in Massive Darkness 2, I guess you could say. Where in this location, in this tile, you can spend an action to try and craft. And to craft, you're either building a scientific card or a tech card. They're all face down. And then to flip them up, you have to just pass your skill test. If you recall, there's a lot of skill tests in this game. And so you roll your dice, and you either pass it or you don't. You can try multiple times. But you flip it, and now you have the Nail Blaster. And then you'll notice that it has, all the different stats, and then these triangle points and rectangle points. And so on your character card, you can connect any triangle with a triangle. So right here's fine. But if you had the nail gun and then you made the nail blaster, well, the nail blaster can't go on the nail gun. But if you had the nail blaster first, then the nail gun could go on top of it. And you can't put it here because it's the science one or tech one or whichever one is which. So I mean that's really it in a nutshell. Just another kind of layer of mechanic that they're trying to put in there, which I think is kind of cool. I was fine with it being a fairly light game, and I'm glad that it's not turning too heavy, but still has a little bit more nuance. So I'm okay with that. Speaking of which, there is a link, again, link down below. You can follow it. You can click notify me on launch if you're interested, and you can see it. And then you can really decide once you actually see it, like, hey, this is something we want to do or not. Moving on, a crazy story from IDW. This is from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventures Cityfall. This was their big kind of almost $1 million campaign. In fact, I'm sure in the PM it did reach $1 million. So they did very well in this. It's the sequel to the Adventures game of the first one. It fixed some stuff like some scaling issues in the miniatures and among other things. And it looks super cool. This is a crazy story. And first of all, I'm going to say I give IDW a lot of crap. They are definitely a corporation, a company, a big bad, don't care about you company normally, where they they are as bad or worse than Camelot when it comes to FOMO. They definitely try to piecemeal things out and make sure that you have to spend as much money as possible to get the things that you want. They're very good at that. They're very manipulative, and I don't like them. That being said, I do like them here, and so I'm going to call them out as something good. This is actually great. So this is titled EU and Asia Fulfillment Update. It's really the EU that was crazy here. Asia's just like real quick, right? EU is this huge thing. So suffice it to say, they got their container and it arrived at the EU and was held in like customs. And then this jerk of a customs officer who's like on this power trip and wants to like make babies cry and kick puppies decides that these warnings are not sufficient for the small parts in there. That somebody might buy this. The age is 14 plus, not a children's toy, hobby gaming product, was not enough. 0 to 3 with a baby that's sad and a dash through it, not enough. That somebody might still get hurt. And so he was like, nope, you gotta change it. In fact, what you want is, we want these. We want the warning symbol with the white box in different languages even. It is funny seeing how different EU is than America. Because I think even this is probably more than we need. Like, I'm not sure we need 14 plus here, a warning plus of that. I think it's probably at least 2 more than what we typically require. Anyway, that's what he was saying they wanted, and they've shipped their other stuff with it before. He's just dumb, but each customs agent's kind of different. I would have called him on a bit more, and maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I don't know. Suffice it to say, they're like, fine, we're going to print all these labels, like these stickers, and we're going to put them on there. We're going to ship the labels over there and do that. So they made all these labels, and they said they're going to do that, and then the custom guy says, nope, I'm not going to let you put any stickers on here either. So they actually had to take all their product, ship it back to China, put the stickers on it, ship it back over there, and then finally give it to you guys. And I guess that is just insane that they did that. Like, it's stupid that they had to. And I could go off on that. You guys know how I am all day long about how stupid the rules and I hate it. Like, just let people buy the crap they want to buy. And if they're stupid with it, they're stupid with it. But anyway, whatever. Nobody who's stupid's gonna buy that. That's a cool thing. Only cool people buy that. Cool people aren't stupid. Okay. Anyway, the fact that they did all that they shipped it all the way back to China, put the labels on, shipped it all the way back, and did all this, I think is really, really cool of them. Now, obviously, that's a huge cost to the point where I doubt they've made much profit, if at all, on the EU stuff. But they did it anyway. Now, the cynic in me says, well, of course they did. They would never be able to sell anything else in Europe again if they just gave up, right? As a business, you got to have some kind of future outlook of some kind. Maybe just a quarter for your shareholders, but something to say like, hey, these people will never purchase from us again if we don't deliver. So even though we're going to take a cash bath in this and just lose money and hemorrhage money, we're still going to do it. Granted. That being said, I still think it's worth a shout out. I think that's awesome that they did that. The reason they weren't updating us is because they were being told they could do something and they couldn't do something, which is why they even printed the labels to begin with. It's a whole long story. I'll link it down below. You can read it. It's crazy what happened here. It really is. But you know what? Good on IDW for doing what needed to be done, even though it cost them a lot of money and all their profit so that you guys can get your game. I'm sure that was incredibly frustrating, but I don't know what else they could have done. I don't know if they could have gone to just another port, maybe just another country in the EU or who knows what. It sounds like you could have just like done a loop-de-loop, come back in, and then be like, hey, look, you're a different person, you know, that's in charge of all this. So maybe you won't be an idiot. I don't know. I'm doubting it's that simple, but either way, you guys are going to get your stuff. It just took a long time and a lot of money on IDW's part to do it. So good on them. Good job. Okay, next up, Stormsunder Pledge Manager is open. You can now spend more money on Stormsunder. Now, there is some updates. This stuff was not in the Kickstarter, so I'm going to explain it. These villain and civilian packs 1, 2, and 3 were not part of the campaign. The civilians 1, this one right here, is the only one turning in wave 1. These 2 are wave 2. They actually each go to one of the kind of expansion boxes kind of thing, which are just really 3 core games, more or less. Anyway, what this is it's just miniatures that didn't make it in. So there are a lot of stuff you can get out of. You can skip whole fights, you can skip whole dungeons, you can skip all sorts of stuff. You can talk your way through things. There's a lot of optional stuff in Stormsunder. For instance, in the demo I played, and I'm not going to give out any spoilers, but you have the option of, you get to like the quest giver, and I said this in my review, you could kill your quest giver. You could just murder the quest giver. Now, what happens when you do that? I don't know, because the demo ends right after you do it, but you can do it. And so you can choose to fight that person. And so in the game, obviously there's a scenario where you set the person up and you set you guys up and you murder them. Or you try to. It actually, you can fail to do it, and the story keeps going. As it looks like it doesn't end up good for you, but the story does continue to go, actually, which is impressive too. It's not like a game over screen, which is kind of cool. But there's a lot of these optional fights. If you don't ever choose to fight them, guess what? Then you don't need that. So there's these optional miniatures in the game that we're getting. Some of them were provided through stretch goals, but not all of them. There's a lot. And so what they do is that you actually have all the cards, you have everything you need, and then you just sub in a different miniature. So you just kind of do a stand-in miniature and be like, that's now that person. Which is theoretically fine, and if you're fine with that, it's great. It's a lot better than something like Descent, where they get you the token of the lieutenant and say, attack this cardboard piece, or buy this expansion pack. Instead they're like, attack this miniature that looks kind of like him but isn't, or buy this miniature pack. And so that's kind of what they're doing here. So they're $50. I think there's 26 in each. I can't remember. Maybe it'll actually tell me. 26 miniatures. Okay, some of them quite large and based and all that stuff. We're going to look at a few of them here in a second. But this is really the only one you need of that. These other ones are for the other Wave 2 stuff, which the Pledge Miniature will open in between the two. So you don't necessarily have to drop them all at once. And like some of this is like the tar pit civilian and human thrall, and then another human thrall, another tar pit civilian. This kind of stuff here, they didn't really get into too much because it's kind of spoilerish. I can understand that playing the demo. I know exactly, I think, what's going on with some of these things. But anyway, suffice it to say, you can definitely add that to your pledge. They also added a Stormsunder, kind of a Sundrop painting. I have a few pictures here of some of the examples. Looks pretty good to me. It's done by the factory themselves, so I don't know what, like I don't know exactly their experience in it, but they look like they're doing a good job. This is 225 of your Wave 1 miniatures will get it. So that's a ton of miniatures to get Sun dropped. But I would get them all. In fact, it even gets the villains and civilians one. It's literally all of Wave 1, so you can add that as well if you so choose. And then the dice set and sleeves were also added. Now, I will say, playing the game, that we never needed more dice when it came, like, they give you enough dice to play the game. That being said, obviously a separate set of dice on the other side can be kind of helpful as well. So that's kind of the option there. It is less than $1 dice, which I much appreciate. I can't stand when dice are $1 a piece, even for custom ones. That's silly and stupid. And then sleeves, you get 1,881 sleeves. I don't know about the microns, or if they're 100 micron or anything like that, or glossy or matte, or I'm not sure. I didn't read up on these, but these are available as well. So, alright, let's take a look at some of those miniatures. So here is, by the way, some of the kind of production quality plastics. I actually have an unboxing of that. That'll be later this week. Trust me, I go into very big detail on there. I do have a few small issues, but for the most part, they're really, really good. I have no qualms about them. I think they're going to be great miniatures, and I'm excited to get them. Let's look at some of the sculpt design, though, because the plastic detail is only half at most of it. Really, the plastic detail is just there so that you can capture your vision, right? But it's what your vision is, your sculpt design, your art design, the whole setup of the miniature. That's really the meat and potatoes. You could have the most defined blob, and it's still a blob. Just a very defined blob. So, and I'm not interested in painting a blob. Well, I guess it depends on the blob. But anyway, let's look at these. These look great. I love how deep and excessive these like rivets are. Any design like that is going to show up incredibly well on the miniature. I think that's great. Even like these strands, how defined they are there. It's very nice. It just makes them a little bit thicker. Same with this kind of stuff. You'll see some stuff like that later on. I'll show you that. I think it's highly unusual to hold a sword on a miniature, so it's great that I will now have a miniature with somebody holding the sword. I think that's awesome. Plus a ton of robes. You know how much of a wash and a dry brush is going to do on that? Oh, it's going to be awesome. Even if you don't... Actually, I probably wouldn't dry brush. I'd still hand highlight, but either way, it's going to look awesome. And again, I love that she's holding the sword. Here's like a techno dude, and you don't see a lot of this, actually. So this is very kind of interesting. She's got like a half kind of face looking here with like some techno stuff and like robot arms. Doesn't very normally get too steampunky. Notice she's not standing, by the way. So she is being carried on this these kind of arms, which is very cool. I love this. So in the sands, in the dunes, and all that kind of stuff, there's these like termite tick people kind of stuff, right? There's all these insects. And here's an insect race that is intelligent, and I love their design and how different and unique they are. They have some cool coloration, so when you paint them, they're going to look awesome too. I think that's, it's cool. This dude is freaking huge, and like, he loves skulls. He's got skulls lining into his shoulders here. He's got a skull crotch. He's got skulls on his knee pads. The dude is freaking beastly. His face is like sunken into there. There's so much stuff here. You'll notice again, these are kind of that exaggerated kind of feathering stuff there, which will look great once it's all said and done. The scroll work, by the way, does show up on the final miniature, so that looks good. Again, I'll show you that in my unboxing, but that should look really, really nice. I like the blocks to sand. There's actually sand there too. I think they've done a great job making all the bases unique, but also making it look good. Additionally, notice he's like stomped on the stone and it's like collapsing up. See, it's little details like that. Like, the more I look at it, the more I notice about it. I love that. I love when I can like analyze a miniature and keep finding more interesting things on it. So that's super, super cool to see that. Okay, moving on, we have this dude. He's ready for COVID. He's got his mask. I love like the snake scepter and then the kind of torch flame thing. I love his kind of headdress. The fact that there's like the Eye of Ra down here and stuff. It just cool looking miniature there. This is technically, I guess, a desert lioness or a desert lion. Doesn't look like a normal lion to me, but it does look super cool. So I'm down with that. It's got these cool like back antlers that are huge and these kind of weird feathering stuff, especially on the tail. And then this odd like texturing added to it in different ways. Really, it helps change and make the mini, I think, dynamic too, which is super cool. Plus cactuses. Now, I do notice a little bit of like fuzziness on the cat. That's not going to show up, obviously, so we'll see kind of what that looks like at the end. I would rather them not have that there in the render, but either way, it's cool to get some vegetation. This guy, I think he looks kind of silly with his bat wings, but a cool pose anyway. It's great to see two hands on the sword, on the side. I think it's a very neat idea. You got like your pirates and stuff like that. Here's like your civilians. Tell me you could not use this for D&D. This look great in D&D. These are fantastic miniatures. Again, this dude not doing nearly as well as her, especially with the ball and chain, but these thralls, again, same thing here. This is great. So this is Amelia, runs the shop in Tarpit. Now, I think I know exactly why they added a miniature here, and I think that's amazing. So I love the fact that she's like smiling. She's got the scroll and kind of the nice kind of coat, and she just looks like a fun character. But you can do a lot of things in the game to get items. If you want to well equip yourself, and you're willing to do what it takes, you can get all sorts of stuff. A lot of it's just money, right? It says like her prices are really, really high. I'm sure they are. Anyway, I think it's cool that they added her. I look forward to using that miniature. This dude, again with the instant people are super cool, but like, look at this like shield with like the kind of the crab things coming out of it. Like they're all coming out of the freaking hive here. It's like you took like a hive and was like, haha, it's now my shield. Looks freaking slick. I love it. This dude has one of the coolest shields I would ever have in a game. I think that is awesome. Love that shield. That is sweet. I love his hair and his horns and his helmet and his teeth and his snarl. This dude is great. I love it. Awesome. I don't know why there's a candle here. He must be like in the catacombs or something like that. Really, really freaking sweet. Again, super dynamic poses. All of these are just so good. I love this dude. Look how fat he is. I love it. He's got like folds going on folds over there. I love his like kind of like, you could tell if he shook his head, his skin would like flop around in like an amazing way. I love the horns that are like ribbed like that. I think that's awesome. Just cool stuff. A sweet minotaur. This dude is awesome. I love that the smoke kind of comes down and then billows around him and then kind of comes out with these skulls. I love that the skulls are well sculpted. A lot of times the skulls are like so imprinted into the smoke that it's hard to tell. These look like skulls, like in a cool way. These miniatures are just great. So look at the size of that dude's gun. It's like a freaking cannon. That's the coolest pirate dude ever. I love it. Captain Grit Morta has a cannon pistol. See, I told you. Look at that. Look at that pistol. That's freaking sweet. These are just such cool miniatures. I love the little helmet there. Wolf. Love wolves. Look at that thing. It's got several tongues. Ugh. Anyway, the miniatures that you get here are amazing. They're really well designed, and I love it. So those are the kind of miniatures that you will get in here. These miniatures are no joke. Very well designed, very cool, very unique, usable in other games. I am excited about that. I really am. I think that's awesome. And I love all the miniatures, and I doubt I'll ever paint them all, but they're super cool. And then there's some like, I don't know, did they show this crab guy there? I don't think so. I know they didn't show this one here. So there's more miniatures here than what we've even seen. Like, look, there's a praying dude here. I don't even know what that's all about. Let's see if we've seen you. She's different. Look at what is he, like a freaking samurai dude? Look at that dude. Okay, anyway, cool stuff. This is wave 1. The rest are wave 2. There you go. Okay, now this is not Kickstarter specific, but if you guys play Wasteland Warfare. I know I did, and I really enjoy it. It's actually a really, really fun game. It's a very board gamey tabletop game, but still a tabletop game. And so it's not for everybody, but for people who like both, like me, I think it's freaking sweet. They're finally adding the Enclave. These have always had my favorite style of armor. I just always liked the, like, kind of slickness as it's kind of slid back. Very, very cool. I love the kind of wires and stuff there that, kind of change it up a little bit, the design. I really like, I thought the Enclave was super cool, and I think these miniatures, again, are super cool. So, there you go. This is coming out soon. It's not out yet, but it will be out soon, so you can, head to the Modifius site, I'm sure, and follow along there. Okay, let's talk about the Blood Rage sequel. Now, the Blood Rage sequel is not Ankh for a couple reasons. First of all, they mentioned Ankh earlier in the article, so if they mentioned Ankh once, why would they mention it again? Second of all, it's listed as the Blood Rage sequel is mentioned with a whole bunch of other games that are new and upcoming and are not out yet. They're talking about stuff that he worked on that's not yet, and they mentioned Blood Rage 2. That means it's not Ankh. Okay? So what is it? Well, this guy down here, the McKinnon, said that it is Camelot. So what is Camelot? Well, Adrian Smith was doing an interview, and in that interview, he kind of had some loose lips and sunk some ships. So he kind of mentioned a kind of Arthurian legend style thing, but described it kind of in a way that seemed to be similar to Blood Rage and Ankh and Rising Sun, and kind of that vein. So he's kind of talking as if it's a game like that, but in a different setting. And he called it Camelot, was his kind of code name for it. Now we hear something about Blood Rage 2. Could be the same thing, right? There's a few other things, and I think I think some of them this dude's kind of reaching for, but other things I think make a lot of sense. If nothing else, it's the most we have to go off of. So, it seems like it's going to be Blood Rage in a different theme or a different setting. What they're going to do with Valhalla, I'm not sure. Or the whole, Ragnarok, I don't know how that's going to work. I don't know if they're going to do it like a zombicide and then have a sci-fi Blood Rage or anything like that. I'm not sure. And I'm not sure how much they're bringing in over from the other stuff. Additionally, another thing I think that's kind of interesting to talk about is Eric Lang still working in this? I mean, he left CMON. He doesn't work at CMON anymore. If you didn't know that was my last video. You should subscribe so you see all the news. So Eric Lang isn't working there anymore. Is he still working on these games? The article made it seem like he had done some work on it and then kind of left it in good hands. But it would be odd for him not to fully develop Blood Rage 2. And before you say it may be already developed, it's not fully developed until you finalize it and put it to print and then ship it. And even then you can write errata if you want to. I've play tested games before, and as a play tester, I've interacted with things, and then I've thought, oh, you know what, I want to I wish it worked this way, I wish I could do this, and then a couple play sessions later, and look at that, the devs have said oh, we kind of got that working, but then they give us an idea to do that. It's a very iterative process where you're constantly, hopefully, improving the game and tightening things up and getting rid of things that don't work and all that kind of stuff. In fact, Eric Lang has talked about how just like in most creative things, whether it's me recording a video and then editing things out, stuff like that, you kind of have everything in the kitchen sink, and you're like, okay, this doesn't work, and this doesn't work, and this doesn't work. And those are hard to do. Sometimes you keep on, well, maybe I'll put you in something else, right? And you keep that kind of close at hand. Maybe sometimes you just junk it if it's not working out, even though you really wanted it to. All that kind of stuff happens. And in fact, Eric Lang's very good with that. A lot of his games are quite streamlined, and I actually appreciate that. I don't like all of his games, but he makes some good ones. Like Blood Rage. So anyway, all I'm saying is that there's still a lot of work to do on any game he's touched. And so if he's not still doing it, then I don't know who is, and I don't know how that'll affect it. It's definitely, worth donating. I would love to discuss this with you guys. What do you guys think? I'll have to reread the article maybe, and maybe you guys can pick up something I'm not. Maybe we could just ask him. I don't know. We could ask him on Twitter. He's pretty active there. I might actually do that. But anyway, I would love to hear what you think this means for CMON and for us. Does this mean an improvement? Does this mean a disimprovement? Not knowing for the games he's going to be making freelance, but for the games that CMON already has in the pipeline. What does this mean for DBZ? What does this mean for Blood Rage 2? What does this mean for Blarg? What does this mean for all this other stuff that they're invariably doing? I'm not sure, God of War, all this kind of stuff. Anyway, that's I think all I had here. Ideally a pretty quick update, but there was a lot of stuff to go over for sure. Again, if I'm just going to remind you, Chronicle X, if you backed it, they should have sent you an email. If not, look on the campaign page. You need to tell them whether or not you want sprues or not. Don't miss out on that. If you do not want sprues, tell them, because they're going to send you sprues, and that's going to make you upset. And I know it would make me upset, especially after all this time. Though at least I guess we'd get our stuff. Anyway, that's all I had. I hope you guys have a wonderful freaking weekend. I know I am. I actually do not work on Friday. I have a little bit of work to do, but not a whole lot. So I have a 3-day weekend. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to play some games with my daughter. I'm going to paint some miniatures. I'm going to do all that stuff. What are you going to do on the weekend? I would love to hear what you guys do, what you guys are keeping up with. Maybe we share something in common. I can start talking about it. I don't know. I just like chatting with you guys, I guess. So I guess I'll be down in the comments commenting with you guys as well. So I look forward to our future chat. Anyway, that's all I had. So thanks for watching. Again, have a wonderful freaking weekend. And if you liked the video, on your way out, just leave that like. It does help a lot, and I greatly appreciate it. All right, guys, that's it. Take care. Bye.